Trewhiddon Garden, Arias Bridge, Penzance, Cornwall, TR19 6AU. Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Thanks so much for being here. Today I'm going to be sharing some sketches that I've made recently on an outing to a garden. Earlier this week I visited a beautiful garden here in Cornwall, the Garden of Trewhiddon. Situated in the heart of West Cornwall, Penzance, it forms part of the Bolifo estate and borders the Trewhiddon Manor House. Hidden away down a single-track road, these gardens were first planted in the 1800s and have been open to the public since Alvin Bolith inherited the gardens in the 80s. We had arranged with a couple of friends to meet there, as neither myself or Tony had been. So after a bite to eat in the lawn cafe, we paid the entrance fee and took a stroll around. What can I say? The gardens are delightful. This 15-acre squarish garden is small enough to walk around in less than an hour, but has so many different varieties of trees and plants you could easily while away hours. Meandering footpaths weave their way to different parts, and you will find ponds dotted here and there, together with reminders of the industrial tin mining heritage of the site. Each part of the garden is intimate and different, whether it's the newly restored walled garden with colourful flower borders, the tree fern dell, which is said to be the finest collection of tree ferns in the northern hemisphere, or the pond garden with the whale's tail and water lilies. The garden is home to one of England's best collections of magnolias and rhododendrons, as well as a collection of over 300 camellias. I also loved seeing the variety of unusual trees, particularly this fine dawn redwood or metasequoia glyptostroboides, a living fossil, a species that was thought to be extinct until a single specimen was found in 1941 in China. I had taken my sketchbook with the intention of sketching, and so whilst Tony and friends returned to the cafe for a cup of tea, I set to work capturing some of the garden on paper. Here are the sketches I created in situ. So let's take a closer look at my sketchbook here in the studio. So here is my sketchbook. This is a homemade sketchbook made from just one piece of paper. And I thought I'd just give you a closer look at what the sketches look like. So this was the first one I did just outside the walled garden. I just really loved the wall and the contrast. And then this was done inside the wall garden. So you can see that's the entrance that we came into, and you've got the dark ferns outside. And then this was all bathed in light. And what I really found was just a lovely view. This was the greenhouse that I found in the walled garden, although it was behind a fence, so we couldn't actually explore in the greenhouse. But what caught my eye was just how tumbled down it looked, and I just loved the image. It was just something that, you know, you look at and you go, yeah, I want to draw and capture that. So the greenhouse itself, the windows were, some of them were open, but then also I think some of the panes were missing. Some of the greenery was actually growing out of the greenhouse itself. It looked like they had just left the greenhouse to go to pot. And I was just really loving how the greenery was just taking over. You saw this sketch that I did, and I had just done the black brush pen marks, And then I've just now, but I added the colour back at home with Neo Colours. But I wanted to capture all of those rich colours that were there in the foliage. So lots of ferns and tropical plants. Really lovely bright flowers, red flowers, and then some succulents. And then there were also these really amazing grey, velvety leaved flowers or plants. I wasn't quite sure what they were, but if you touched the leaves, they were really velvety and they were really light grey. So it just was such an interesting group of plants to see. I just thought I had to capture it. And then this was the last sketch that I did of the lily pads in the pond. The pond had a water fountain feature. I think it was a whale's tail. It was a whale's tail. And then there was just this group of lily pads in front of it with some of the flowers that had come out just recently. So it was a very quick sketch. But I really like how this works on top of that textured background. These little salt crystals have made these markings, and I thought it went really well. So very simple sketch. It probably took me about 6 minutes to do this. I have thought about adding colour to this as well. I'm still a bit undecided, but I just loved that I was able to capture it in person. So, as you can see, I have a few more pages to draw on, and I thought it'd be great to do that with you now, whilst the garden's still fresh in my mind. I've just looked through some of the footage as well, the video footage, just to get my thoughts on what kind of thing I should sketch. So what I did was I've screenshotted some of the plants or trees that I want to sketch, and then I've printed them out very crudely on printer paper, and I'm going to use these references then to do these final pages. So I've chosen this tree I'd like to put here. This was actually just by the pond where these lily pads were, so I thought that would be good to put there. And then the next sketch that I thought would be good, I actually really like this image of my friend here with her hat and her glasses and her, just the way she looks. I just really like it. So I thought I could actually put her here, but rather than have this scene, have this really old tree. This is an amazing tree. It's like it's the dawn redwood, which I spoke about, and it just looks amazing. And it's one of her favourite trees in the garden. So I thought actually that would work maybe on this side with her looking at it. So I thought that would be fun. And then the final spread would be the fern pit, which I had really wanted to sketch in person, but I just ran out of time. So this is from the video footage. So I thought it would be really cool to have all of these ferns here and see if I can capture a bit of it in the sketch. I'm not going to put Tony or my friend in this one. I just want the trees. So that is the plan for these 3 pages. And you're welcome to take out your sketchbook and do some sketching as well if you want to. And yeah, I'll take you along with me. So just so you know what I'm working with, I am going to be using the same brush pen that I used to create the others. This is a water brush which I filled with liquid acrylic ink. It's a mix of the cobalt blue and the earth brown, and it produces this almost like a Payne's grey kind of ink. Not quite black, but it can get quite dark if I layer it over. And it's great because it's really quick. I find it's a really quick way of working, and it keeps my brush lines loose. And it's also the same thing that I used for when I was creating the double page spreads where I said about drawing wildflowers. So I thought it would be great to use it in that way. The other thing I'm going to use are my Neocolours. So these will be for pops of colour, and you see I've got them grouped in greens, and I've got reds, browns, and finally some blues, greys, odd purples. I might not use all of those, but they'll be there for me to use. And I'll share with you this is another little sketchbook that I made inspired by my wildflower sketches that I did. I thought it'd be really fun to show you that in a minute, but that's what that is. So I'm going to put that reference image there, and I will just take elements of it. I'm not probably going to, just want to get the main features, which of the tree, and I'm trying to keep to a time limit. So I'm going to put a time of 7 minutes and see where I am after that. So I'm just trying to get the main features really, and what it is about this tree that makes it quite distinguishable. It's a beautiful tree. Just has these massive branches, kind of come almost from the bottom, you know, hardly any trunk, so to speak. So I'm not going to look too close. And then at the foot there, you've got in front, you've got some ferns, a lot of dark ground. Another thing I love about this brush pen, it can give you really interesting dry marks, especially if you let the ink run out, so to speak. I mean, it doesn't quite run out, but if I give it another squeeze, I'll get another lot of ink coming through. And then just picking out shapes. Hope it's not too noisy, the background. I've got the window open because it's a little bit hot. Although it is raining, it's just quite humid today. Very odd weather. Yeah, it's very wet outside. It woke up and it was misty, foggy. But it's still quite warm. So you might hear a lot of seagulls and car noises. Just notice there are these other branches going up vertically. Quite like those. So I'm just squinting at the picture and just seeing where there are some darker areas. It's kind of what I would do on location anyway. Try not to stay in one part of the drawing for too long. You get really tight otherwise. I really love though the background of this. See how quick you can build up a sketch with a background that you've already prepared. And then just some dark, a few brush marks and you're away. It's a great way to sketch on location if you haven't got a lot of time. Okay, I think I'm done with the pen. Timer on. Got just 2 minutes left. So I might put in some green. Let's see. Also, there's that really light couple of greens. Olive green, moss green, light olive green, and chromium. Beauty of the Neo colours is that they go over a lot of mediums, so they'll go over this acrylic quite well. Just little flashes of green, light green. Now I'm going in with the olive. Almost looks bluey here. It's quite nice about the chromium. That's got that bluer hue. Time is up, that's 7 minutes. Just do some tree bark. Then just one more thing. You can see some of the sky through the trees. Okay, I'm going to just leave it like that. Next spread. I'm going to be ambitious and include my friend and have this tree here. Might start with my friend. It's going to be interesting. I do want her quite small. I'm going to use a new colour. Backpack. Ooh, ink has got very inky, so I might have to come back to that once it's dry. Okay, that's a shades. I'll wait for that to dry, but what I can do now is start on the tree. So let's have a look at this tree. This is the dawn redwood tree. I was reading up about it and how it used to be almost thought extinct from a fossil age, but they found one specimen in China in 1941, and they obviously must have then taken specimens and then planted them. One planted here. It's an amazing tree though to look at. And it is one of my friend's favourite trees. She was very eager to show us. Very tall. Okay, I'm going to leave that like that. I've got my warm grey here, which I thought would be good to do background trees, branches. And do some of the ground. Can't see her shoes, but I'll add some. Still quite wet there, so I might dab it at some point, but I'll work on my tree. Some warm of this apricot. I've also got I think this might be olive brown. It's kind of like a gold colour. And then the next colour is green for moss. It's quite bright though. Getting the texture. The paper I'm using is slightly textured. It's watercolour paper, just very slightly textured on one side. Hey guys, so my camera stopped and I didn't realise, so I just continued working on it, and yeah, I'm really happy with how my friend looks. I brought in my polychromos Payne's Grey just to do a little bit of an outline, and I've also softened or brought in my water brush. I'd put some green around here and I'd softened it with my water brush just to make it a little bit more fuzzy here, so that the attention is on the tree. But I think I really like how it looks, and it's just a really nice little imagined scene, although she definitely loves this tree, so it's just kind of a nice way of capturing it, combining a few different images that make it up. I've also just added a little bit more detail on the trunk as well, but yeah, I think I'm really happy with that. So final one, it's largely dry, will be done on this double page. It's lots more of the yellow golden sand colour, and I thought that would work well for the background for the palms. And I think I just really want to focus on a lot of these thick palms, greenery, undergrowth kind of feeling. So I'm going to start again with my brush. It's really nice feeling being under a canopy of greens. I always feel when you're surrounded by these massive tree ferns, you feel like you're in some prehistoric age. There was this amazing tree called a jelly fern, and I'll show some footage of it. Just, you could see how it'd been weathered, so it looked like big chunks had been taken out of it. but it was still alive, still going. So these ferns have been planted in a pit that was used for mining, tin mines. So it works really well for them. The habitat is sheltered, a lot of moisture, can stay in the air. So it's just a really good habitat for them. I think that's why they do really well and thrive. If you are on holiday in Cornwall, I would recommend visiting these gardens. Really nice. You have to pay £9 per adult. We got a 2-for-1 deal because you can get, they're part of the Great Garden scheme, so we were able to get 2-for-1 because we'd found a voucher. There is so much history as well in these gardens, and I'd love to go back again and just spend more time sketching. Okay, time for some green. Try and keep it again loose. Looking at the in-between spaces. If you're enjoying this type of video, this is kind of what I'm doing on my Substack for my paid subs, going a bit deeper into process and still playing. So we've got quite a few videos now which look at different processes, along with making a sketchbook like this. So you can find all the links for that in the description. It'd be lovely to have you over there. Also managed to enable the chat on there. And it's quite a nice platform really, a nice way to chat with each other, and people can share their sketchbook pages and connect. And this month I'm going to be looking at value and contrast. I'm going to also be looking at how I draw rocks. And then there's other things on there. I share all my sketchbook pages, scan them in, share them all each month, as well as do a podcast and also a sketchbook surgery where we look at something that's come up in a bit more detail. So if that's something you're interested in, then do take a look. You can join for a month or longer, or sign up for a year. Oh, I'm loving this colour. I think it might be light flesh or something. Works really well for the bark. Okay, I think I'll finish there and give you one last little tour. Okay, one more thing, I'm going to stamp the date, and I've also put the address, which I think is quite fun. And I'll give it a tour in a minute. This one I just wanted to share with you. This was one that I created, you can see, a month ago in June, inspired by my wildflower sketching session. I did this also on one piece of paper and then I cut it to make one big sketchbook. I glued the spine pages together and added a cover, and it's just basically lots of pages with flower inspired drawings. Just thought it was a really fun way to present your sketches. I love doing that. Stands up as well and you can flick the pages. That's quite fun. So let's have a closer look now at my Cornish Garden Sketchbook. And there we go. Thanks so much guys for watching and sketching along with me. Let me know if you did sketch along, and I will look forward to speaking with you again soon. Don't forget to check all the links that I mentioned as well. If you want to join me on Substack, you'll be very welcome. It'd be great to have you there. If you got to the end, write in the comments garden sketching and tell me if you love to sketch in gardens. Bye guys, speak to you again soon.